Yo, what's up guys? You probably have seen the videos from SeanB by now, and he keeps telling you build this Fire Star guy. It is a crazy good unit, super good against revives. If you haven't seen the videos, main thing is you have this nuking hit over here, which also if you kill something cannot be revived. And he already has like 4 or 5 videos on that. However, I think his build can be upgraded. And how good is this in G3 RTA and World Guild Battle? Because he does mention he likes to use it against Pernas, Terranese, and any kind of other revive. If we look at this guild, there's not too many Pernas and Terraneses these days, as you can see over here. Sure, there's a few bit of revivers in the form of a Odin, but it is not too much and super common these days to go on full-on reviver comp or Terraneses or any of that kind of good stuff in the high-end guilds. So actually, this one does have double reviver in here with this one and this one. However, you might die to an Odin hit in the first place, so you can only take out one of the two rather than both, which could be a little bit dangerous right there for that team in particular. There are a good bit of Odin teams right there, but there's not too many Terranese teams. There's not too many teams along the lines of Pernas these days. However, I think it is still a really good unit. Plus, I want to upgrade the build by a little. I'm going to be hitting this team and I'm going to be using it all the way at the bottom, which does make it where I need a very fast unit because I'm going to be 24 speed lead checking this thing on a one-on-one base. Which in the end, Talisha is not the fastest of units out there, but hey, if you use very fast runes, it might do a thing or two. Also, I cannot use my fastest team because of it, because it's like pretty much full runes overlapping right there. So how do we upgrade that build? Well, first of all, what SeanB is definitely doing right is him bringing to the 239 speed at least. So therefore, he is in one higher tick. But he's doing it on Violent and Energy. I don't think Violent really adds too much to the table because you just want to get your skill 3s off. And if you proc to get a skill 2 off after a skill 3, it doesn't really help anything. So I think double will would be the best case scenario. Or you just go triple Energy for more HP. But I think more HP on this kind of build isn't really a necessity, so I just go for this. Of course, you're going to add in as much life drain as you have, just because you're using Vampire and then lowering your HP, so therefore you heal a bit more. Of course, this is the fastest build you have. Plus, I'm going to be using Jemire not as a violent build, but as a unit that moves just in front of the Talisha. So I can do the full rotation rather than having to go for a bit of a later turn on the Jemire. And in the first turn of Jemire, if anything were to nearly outspeed me, I can still use an S2 to slow things down and maybe get into the right tuning. Plus, he is good speed scaling on his skill 1 anyway, so that might be working over there. I could be outsped over here because this is a 2 higher base unit than I am, but I think I threw enough speed at it where it probably will work. For the other teams, we have the can't touch this version of the Douglas, always dangerous but always funny. In this case, we do have the Assure style with Lucia and Seimei against this. We can get Oblivion over here, but it would be a 1-turn Oblivion, so it would not be that bad. In this case, it's one of those teams you just kind of survive with something, and that something will probably kill this thing. That's the main thing over there. Over here, we do have a speed check scenario as well. I'm not 100% sure if... Did I already switch your crit rate to correct state? No, I did not. Let me switch your crit rate to correct state because you can actually do more damage because of the recent buff. And then this thing also fast unit. Okay, well, it's actually a little bit harder to fix than I thought because I cannot have a good replacement for this. So I just leave it as is. I kind of have to redo my World Guild Battle hits at some point anyways. But let's see if this is going to be one of those typical teams in there, or do I rather still keep my fast set at this? Most likely we'll still rather keep my fast at this, but maybe I'll do like a secondary-ish setup over here if there's enough like anti-revives that I would like to hit with it. But let's see if we can get those hits off, and let's see if SeanB is right that this is one of the best teams that everyone should be using at this point. Okay, we're gonna go for that over there. It's not the worst of things out there. I can just kind of survive, just whittle down a little bit on just throwing a bunch of skill 1, skill 2s, all of that kind of good stuff. We will have a little bit of HP down over there, but it's not really the worst of things, especially with the amount of healing that I have on this Molly. Did not actually show it, but this Molly is rocking a 29 recovery on the right side artifact. It is an attack main, but on Molly, that shit doesn't really matter at all. And as mentioned, this is team can't touch this. I still like to keep my pony in the pony form, because therefore I have more chance of getting glancing hits in and that kind of shenanigans. And that's just the main thing that I'm trying to do over here. As many glancing hits as possible, be annoying. Anytime anything goes for an AoE, most likely we'll go for a glancing hit. If you do that skill, doesn't really matter. I'll just like hit it a few times and then it's kind of a funny team. Is it really necessarily good? Good. It definitely has your chance to lose because in the end we're rocking a Douglas, and Douglas is not always the most consistent thing out there. Of course, we do definitely know that. But is it funny though? Yeah, it's definitely funny. I like this team for being funny more than anything. I had the skill 2 available, but I thought that the other one was moving first. And we should be all good to go from here. It's definitely a funny team. I've seen it lose though. Because in the end, yeah, Douglas is not really the best of things out there sometimes, but against a team like this, it's mostly kind of doable. They don't have an insane amount of damage output. The main damage output is actually the back, but if the back goes on the Douglas, like who cares? And if it goes on any of the other two, it's still kind of who cares. So that is definitely a chill thing over there. Let's see what we do have over here. We do fully outspeed. We do fully outspeed. You cannot push back that much. You will go for the Oblivion, but the Oblivion is pretty short. And when the Oblivion is not that long, it's also not that big of an issue. I am on Violent on this team rather than on the normal Despair that I do with the Seimei. But I kind of like this one on Violent a little bit more in this case. Let's hope that we don't get too hard procced on. Okay, in that case, I should have used the S2. Hopefully, yeah, we do survive and Seimei doesn't have 60k heal. Yeah, the healing on this is absolutely insane. Also, this 24k heal because of the Lucia. That's just like absurdity for healing itself right there. Most of the time, I like to keep the S2 for the scenario where I just used my skill, because then you're super close on getting your skill back right away, which is just one turn. And if we get defense break early on this, it's super nice. And that's the thing for World Guild Battle. World Guild Battle, you cannot always use your fastest runes against everything, and therefore you cannot cleave everything. And most of the team, especially in high-end World Guild Battle, is full on everything as a speed lead. And because everything is a speed lead, you kind of have to go for Bruiser scenarios into teams that will definitely outspeed you. This is one of those setups for me that's one of the better Bruiser scenarios for, or Bruiser setups that works against a lot of things that do outspeed. Is it carried by Seimei? Yeah, definitely. Because of the Oblivion making that one turn is a lot stronger. If you were to just simply put a Tetra next to it, you'll get that 2-turn Oblivion, and that would definitely be a lot worse, but it is a decent team. Even with the Tetra, still a decent team, because Lucia Tetra makes things, anytime that there's like any hard pushback units, those pushback units won't push back as much. And in the end, this 24k healing is just absurd. That's just, this thing has so much healing going on. And if you land a defense break, it's still pretty darn good damage. Like, the damage is not lacking on it at all. It just needs an early defense break. It's a crit rate build and then fully HP stacked. But it has a good artifact for the right side for dealing a lot of crit damage and then just a bunch of healing extra. But 24k heal on itself, bit of more healing or like similar healing towards the ally, that's just insane. Okay, so what do we have over here? We do outspeed with you. That's not an issue whatsoever. Let's just go for spread on this because of pushback. Then we go for this. I really do like this team. You could also use this with an Amber, but just triple fire. There's a lot of cases where triple fire does make a lot of sense. And now these units, I should have actually let them both on the horse because they get dehorsed from that anyways. The only thing is they would not die right after that right away. But the combination of Bloodjet tricks is just, it's crazy strong. Like, there's just so much work to it for debuffs and that kind of stuff. And sure, he could have outsped me. Sure, he could have maybe killed a unit here and there. But all three of those are, in particular, pretty darn tanky. Okay, we do fully outspeed. That is good. I think I want to hit your skill there and this skill here. It could be bad in case that I don't fully kill the right side. I do know that she is stronger in current state by a fair bit, especially because there's that many buffs on it. If the team had less buffs, then I would probably have done it the other way around. But Kiara is pretty darn strong on this amount of buffs. That's definitely a thing. That's some despairs. Fine. No use in that S2. Still no use in that S2. Mostly I throw the S2 on the Bastet. That makes the most amount of sense. But we do already have our hero strike back again. So now, finally, the team that this video was all about. We do actually outspeed. I think in this case, we're just going to go for chip damage over there. We're going to use this one over here. And we're going to go for a heavy smack. How much damage? 53k. Not bad. Can't revive. Good stuff. We do have the will. So in case that you go for a trick of water, we're not slowed, which is really nice. I could get provoked over here, though. That's kind of bad. That is kind of bad, but I think I have to use it regardless. because your HP is a little bit on the low side. Yep, okay, we do go for that. That's fine. I am not 100% sure. Is this an ignore? Yeah, this doesn't give a shit about anyone. I think I'll just send it. Yep, we just take that out. And now we just have to Bruiser this, which shouldn't be that much of an issue unless I get perma provoked. I think I'll just go for this S2. That should do a massive heal, right? Yep, that's a pretty massive heal. So we couldn't get the full rotation off twice right now because of simply how we played it with the provoke. But that definitely did still work out pretty much. We can also just kind of whittle it down right now. Is it nicer right now to proc on this unit or still have the will runes? I would say it's still nicer to have the will runes right now available. Or yeah, the double will for this unit available. It kind of depends on the team scenario though. That's definitely a thing. But we get our skill back and then massive nuke. 63k. That's some solid damage. Not a bad team. Not a bad team, definitely. Is it the best thing out there against the Craig in this case in particular? Maybe not necessarily. Let's see in this whole lineup if there's at least one Tyrannese over here, because I kind of doubt it. We could hit this though. That's not really what you want to hit. There are of course revivers such as Morris, but it's also... Is it something that you would hit like this? No, the Iris is most likely faster if it's going to be a Swift Trap Iris, that kind of shenanigans. There's a lot of teams with Odins out there, but there's not too many Pernas, not too many Tyrannese. There's a lot of Beelzebub as well, but then it's next to another damage threat, which either you would kill that team or you would kill that team, depending on what I leave alive. All the way at the front, I found my Tyrannese, and that's actually also a perfect scenario where the Tyrannese does do pretty darn well. So let's fight this one. So we already have that team on the right order right there. That's totally fine. There's actually a Perna over here as well. So that would be 2 for 2. But I can't use it on both. He actually used a lot of revives because we also have this one for the revive. Okay, so these are going to be the team's first team. There's a lot of revives. So we're of course going to be using Grogan. That's definitely the best option out there. If Gallia lands, that's the main thing. This time around, we have this team over here. We do have Ian for the anti-passive. Probably gonna kill the Odin first, kill you second, and then you are just gonna bruise with the 3 of us. Should be fine. This team could be a little bit tricky, but I think it is doable. As I mentioned before, I have this nice artifact over here that just adds a lot of damage. And then we're just gonna try to survive and do our thing over there. We're gonna use the team Mr. No Touch over here, which is definitely gonna be a little bit dangerous because of the Oblivion, but we do have double cleanse as well, and I assume that you don't have too much attack. So I kind of pray and hope that it works, but that's definitely more praying and hoping. And in this case, we do have this team over here where we're just simply gonna be hitting you first, and then the other two should be easy cleanups for that team. So let's see if that does actually work or if that's not going to work out right there. First of all, if we do fully outspeed, that's always perfect. Galleon, are you going to be a good Galleon today? Galleon was a decent Galleon, but I'm not really liking the Morris surviving. Okay, Morris could bring back you. That is an option. Don't do too many Morris things. Okay, at least you have the full hit on that all the time, which is a good thing for us. Can we clear that out? No, because of glancing. Don't proc like 16,000 times. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, unit right there, but we did survive, so that's a good thing. That's the most important thing. We can take you out with the Piercer. And we just love that. Can't revive. Always good. Skill 2 over there. And then start bruisering on this thing. Nice. You still crit it. It's still typical Perna. But yeah, this team is just super nice. If you don't have the Kiara, but you want to use an Ian, you can just put a Jemire on the left side. That's definitely an option. Or you just go for any kind of other nuker, but then you don't have the speed buff. That's just kind of what you have. Or speed lead. That's just kind of what you have to work with. So let's see if this does actually work. If I get Death Broken on a lot of units, this definitely might hurt, but every healing I get off will be an insane heal right away. So that's definitely... Okay, there's Destroy on this one, I assume. So I have to keep that in mind that we do have Destroy on you. So therefore, we gotta take you out first. Not a single hit over there just yet, but that's fine. We also do have Destroy ourselves. Plus, with that 1 proc, I'm already back to skills on you right now, which is just crazy good as a team in the whole first place. In this case, I could definitely see a world where you put a Tetra in the middle, and Tetra in the middle would do as good as my Seimei is doing right now. It would not really be that much of a difference. It's just a super tanky team, and that's just like... I really like this Lucia thing, because she gives... Or she next to 2 healers, plus being a healer herself, she amplifies every heal, which just makes things so freaking strong for healing. Doesn't do that much damage, and also just the simple skill ones of hers, just an insane amount of healing. Plus she's triple revenge, so all of the units on the enemy side, in this case, could not push back, but all of the units do have AoEs, in some case even double AoE in the case of you. With all of those AoEs, they're bound to hit the Lucia, you're bound to get healing in, and it's just super crazy strong right there. Plus, there's still Destroy on you, so in case that they would be fighting a healer team, you can slowly whittle down and destroy HPs and those kind of shenanigans, and it's just, yeah, damage is there, healing is there, protection is there, everything is there, like those hits, like, cool and all, man, it's just massive healings for me. It's just so many healings flying around. My HP is pretty much full at all times, 15k, barely any damage on any of those units at all. And we just chip them down. So really do like this team, do really recommend people to build this team. Without the same A, I would definitely go for Tetra, which is the Mermaid. Or you could even go for Molly, it's not that bad neither, but I think a Tetra anti-debuff style, or even a Veramos. Both of those would be very good in the middle and just build them super high tank and then shenanigans. Okay, Team Mr. No Touch. Okay, that's kind of dangerous for you getting those hits in already, but that's fine-ish. Still fine-ish, still fine. That's a near-dead unit. You are good for not proccing anymore. I appreciate that. Maybe I should have used S2, but I think I'd rather go for this. And let's just take you out as a first. If I lose this unit due to procs right now, it would be kind of bad, but I think I'm just going to go for this. Does he steal it? Doesn't steal it? Okay, let's definitely go for switch, go for stun. Stun, because of the stun on you, you couldn't team up with that. That's perfect for me. And does still like them additional turns. Let's just chop in more damage. I think I actually want to do this. He could steal revenge from that. That's maybe not the best of ideas, though. Well, he also was already removing it. There's definitely a lot of focus on this Molly. I think the moment that they start focusing this thing on the right, he's immediately like super screwed, but he can't really focus that because of the Molly being that low on HP and that kind of shenanigans, right? Nice shield steal, but I think should be fine. Can we get a freaking double hit? Stuns. Stuns are always one nice. Still like them procs. That's fine, that's fine. We should take it out after this hit right here, right now. Still like them additional turns. It's fine, it's fine. Well, you still have to 100% hit this, so you can never hit that. But in the end, the thing doesn't heal. We already got rid of the most dangerous thing out there. It could have definitely went pretty wrong on this one. I have to be honest on that. Like, Sylvia teams fighting with this kind of Bruiser shenanigans, as always, kind of dangerous. But it did work out in the end. So then the hit that we have all been waiting for. We can... Ooh, that's pretty darn fast. In this case, you are not outspeeding this, but I can give the option for slow on you. Just to have a little bit of a safety net for, hey, like, yo, don't actually outspeed me. Because that was a Swift Chandra. And that is dangerous. Like, if I just went in with like a 240-ish or 220 speed-ish on that thing, it would have been kind of bad. So in this case, we do have this, we do have that. And we can go for it. Oh, once again, that's why you want to have the life drain on this unit. Because of the life drain, you can actually deal a proper amount of healing back. Plus, that's just a massive heal right there as well. I'm not sure if life drain enables that more, but it does kind of feel like it. I don't know. And then we just have to Bruiser out this fight. He'll probably get into a second life. Is Violent really useful in here? I don't think so. I don't think... I would still go either just go triple energy or add in the double will. Fighting those Chandras, is double will that interesting in all honesty? Well, Chandra would go for strip stun, but in this case he has to first strip before he can stun. So yeah, that's definitely something that I personally do like. And I don't think I really need much more damage than the damage we have over here, which is just an insane amount of damage, like 60k plus 50k in the first rotation. So, do I like the team? Yes, definitely do like the team. Do I like it a little bit more for a siege than for a World Guild Battle? Probably, because then I can actually use my best set in multiple hits, and it's not that big of a deal. However, in the last siege, I tried to do this team as well, and there was not a single reviver. There were 0 Odins, there were 0... There were 0 Odins, there were 0 Pernas, and there were 0 Taraneses on the enemy side. There were Morrises, but those were in 4 stars. So, in the end, you do have to find your revivers. Can you use this against a non-reviving team? Yes. Would I really recommend it? It is a possibility. But if it's definitely better, I'm not sure. I would recommend at least to put it to the 101 speed, because with the 101 speed, you're in 1 tick extra with his speed lead. And then I would not go for Violent at low, unless your Violent is actually the highest HP that you can have. Also, do not slack on defense. Having him a little bit of defense does make him a lot more tanky. And then, as mentioned, as much life drain as possible, because that just gives you more recovery over here. I guess that a recovery skill 3 would also work, but just double check if that does work before you go in. But I'm 90% sure it does work. However, life drain rolls on 8s, whereas recovery rolls on 6s as max anyway. So life drain technically is better. And for future states, especially because SeanB made it that popular, there's going to be fewer and fewer revivers. So it might be a little bit less used, but still definitely a team you probably do want to rune up. Guys, thanks a lot for watching for this one. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.